Africa. Something about this place. Once you've been, you keep wanting to come back. This trip is special to some of the remotest corners and most unique camps in southern Africa. The trip begins with a long plane ride from Seattle to Amsterdam. It's a gray Dutch morning here, so we waste no time and find our plane to Johannesburg. After 30 hours and 10 time zones, we arrive in Johannesburg, South Africa. It's night here. We find our hotel and fall into bed.
We sleep into the afternoon, then meet our traveling companions for dinner. The adventure begins in the morning.
Our planes are waiting for us, and we waste no time getting on board. We are eager to get this adventure started. Damon, our pilot, and Tony, our tour leader, give us our pre-flight briefing. The airport's busy. We get in line to take off. The rest of our group are in the second plane, behind us on the taxiway. Finally, we get off the ground. We quickly leave Johannesburg's industrial areas and sprawling suburbs behind. We're headed to Namibia. The landscape is dry as we skirt the southern end of the Kalahari. Our first stop in Namibia is Kletsmanshop to clear customs and immigration. And to refuel. We're not in the big city anymore. With the formalities taken care of, we head to Geluk airstrip in the Namib desert. On the way, the landscape looks rougher and less hospitable. Makes you really wonder about conditions at our destination. Then we're there. We touch down at Geluk airstrip. Tony tells us that Geluk means luck in Afrikaans. Does that make us feel any better? But we are welcomed by an enthusiastic group of guides from Little Kulala. After a short drive, we are welcomed at our home for the next 2 nights, Little Kulala. To say this place exceeded our expectations would be a gross understatement. Then we are shown to our rooms, or our kalalas, which means to sleep, so a place to sleep. But again, an understatement, much more than just a place to sleep. What strikes you is how well the design harmonizes with the landscape. On the roof of each kalala is a deck for stargazing. It's time together for an exploration of the surrounding area and to watch the sunset in the desert. A small watering hole has thoughtfully been placed off the dining deck for the pleasure of both guests and residents. No question, this is a harsh but somehow beautiful landscape. But wildlife has adapted to this environment. Springboks seek out the shade along a seasonal riverbed. Camelthorn trees grew here in wetter times. A variety of bird life flourishes here. As the sunlight turns to gold, we watch a family of oryx. Then we enjoy an old African tradition, toasting the day with sundowner cocktails. Then it's back to Little Kulala for dinner and conversations about expectations. After breakfast, we're off to the Namib National Park, the largest game reserve in Africa. Our guide shows us a satellite image of the area. The national park's boundaries are shown in yellow, an area larger than Switzerland. Our destination is Sossusvlei. We drive up a vlei, Afrikaans for a clay pan, surrounded by red dunes. The redder a dune is, the older it is. Some of our group are climbing the dune. In the back is Big Daddy, the highest dune in the world. The rest of us are exploring the vlei. Every 5 or 10 years, enough rain falls in the mountains to produce flash floods that reach here, but the flow is stopped by the dunes. This makes for some otherworldly, Dali-esque landscapes. The dune climbers are sliding, rolling, and falling downhill to join us. Time for a group picture. So here's the famous picture of the Namib desert that we've all seen. And here's the context. The appropriately named Dead Vlei. That's Big Daddy in the background, rising almost 1,000 feet. It's so dry here that these trees do not decompose. They've been like this for hundreds of years. But there is life in Sossusvlei. Camelthorn tree roots go deep to reach the aquifer.
There's wildlife too, especially bird life.
You can see where the sociable weaver got its name. This communal nest can house over 100 birds. Back to Little Kulala for lunch and some downtime. It's been a busy morning. I spent my downtime on the deck, watching the activity around the waterhole. And the ostriches watched me watch them. This male was strutting his stuff. It must have been the right stuff. She really seems impressed. Sherry found these Namib desert beetles. They survive by using the bumps on their backs to catch the water from the fog that comes in off the ocean every morning. And before you know it, it's time for another adventure. We're going to Sesriem Canyon, another unique geological feature of this area. This canyon is only 1 kilometer long and 100 feet deep. We descend to the canyon floor. Many plant and animal species find protection in the canyon. The sedimentary rock that the canyon exposes was deposited over millions of years. Geologists study the size of the rocks in the strata to estimate how fast the water was flowing. Then over the last 2 million years, the infrequent flash floods have eroded the rock, leaving a narrow canyon and strange rock formations. We hike to the end of the canyon. Then there's just enough time to hike back before dark. Back on the surface, we enjoy our sundowners under a mackerel sky. At dinner, the staff entertain us with song and dance. Yes, we're up, up, and away in our beautiful balloon. gives you a whole new perspective on the sunrise. Then all too soon, it's time to land. Ask me about a sport landing. Then a champagne breakfast with a view. We're back at Geological airstrip and off to our next adventure in Namibia.